what I never understood, what I didn't see until recently, is that there were parts of my friendship with her, because of our close proximity and how we worked together, interacted every day. Like, we literally, our desks were like this. That there was mental, and even though, and Tiff explained it to me, that just because you use the words emotional doesn't mean that there is anything emotional from the perspective of, you're tethered together romantically.
Yeah.
But there is space that
they occupy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that Tiff
Yep.
wasn't occupying. Right? Now, why? You can get into that's where the macro and the micro comes in, right? Yeah. So you get into the micro when you can say a lot of different things. Well, we were raising kids and this, that, and the third, and Tiff's personality and my personality, and blah, 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 blah. So there are a bunch of those micro things. But the macro level is, now that it's just Tiff and I, that person who was like a sister to me, you know what I mean? I had to let that ride. I have to give Tiff that space, right? I have to. Mm-hmm. And before, I didn't feel like I had to, because there were all these other factors that the weight of it didn't feel as heavy as it does now.
Yeah.
Right? And even though Tiff tried to articulate it over the years, she didn't do the best in articulating it. And I'm not saying that as a knock to her, because she just couldn't find the words to really express what it was. But the other side is, I felt something also, not for this person, but felt like, if this person isn't there, not a problem or whatever, but now I have to rely on you for this.
Yeah.
And are you capable of holding whatever weight I now put on your shoulders? Because when the things were in the middle, right? When the things were in the middle, i.e. the girls and how we were raising them and all the other stuff,
you had other shit.
It wasn't a priority for you. And that's not a knock to her, because again, we're raising children and it works, right? And it's still incumbent on me. I'm not putting anything on Tiff.
There you go.
In any way, shape, or form that I still should have put it on her shoulders. I'm simply saying the proximity of this individual and how long we worked together, we just naturally became like siblings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but Tiff has made me realize, and it was another one of those things of my journey through 2023 when I was doing some deep diving myself, which we probably won't get to it today, but out of that, I realized where I want to go in 2024, there's gonna be some therapy in my life. It has to happen, right? Because parts of me that existed can't go with me into whatever my dream is. And those parts, I've gotta figure out, just for what they are, I need someone to help me at the micro level, right? Just what's going on in here? How are you operating? How were you moving? What are those things you were doing? Not that they were all bad or good, but I know.
You saw a pattern.
It's not so much that. I just realized that I now am dreaming bigger, and the Joe from 2022, 2021, and 2023 can't be what that dream is. He's incapable of getting there. He's incapable of getting there because in 2020, 1, 2, and 3, he didn't even think he didn't even dream that.
Yeah.
He didn't even think that was a possibility, right? And so, I'm saying all that to say that wasn't so much my loss of my friendship with this.
That is a loss, bro.
It is a loss.
Yeah.
It is a loss, but it's not a loss from a perspective of, it's a loss with a win attached to it, because now I have to focus on my wife, right? I have to I have to trust that she's capable of being more, right? One, well, that's two, because the real one is what I realized that I didn't really know what I wanted. Like, what do you want? See, when you're married this long in this situation and you're starting things over again, it's different than, like I'll say for you, Brocky, and meeting Trina, you know what I mean? You walk into it at this age saying, this is what I want from a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? You know there's been all these things or whatever. There've been people in your life situations, and it's crafted who you want to be. And you get to select this person.
Yeah.
Right? Same with you, based on how long you and your lady have been together, there's been ebb and flows and whatever it's gonna be. When you're with someone for as long as we've been together, and then you have such a major shift in the way you've done business for so long as a couple and lived and thrived and dealt together as a couple, your reset button isn't the same, right? It's not the same as I get to choose you and this is what I want. You have to actually figure out what the fuck you want.
And that's I hear you, and I assume you're right, 'cause I haven't been married for 15 years, but the beauty about you and Tiff is that y'all have so much newness happening right now. It's almost as if you're like, y'all had one relationship for 15 years, and now y'all starting on like almost a whole, bringing some stuff and starting a new thing from the outside looking in. Because y'all have so much newness. Y'all have business together now. Y'all both have kids that are gone
But
now.
the difference though is, while you have some newness, you also have baggage that comes along with it.
But y'all
residue.
y'all got awareness though.
You do.
Y'all have awareness.
But you have to get so in that awareness, you have to come to that awareness.
True.
Right?
Yes.
Did some couples counseling, you know what I mean? To learn how to communicate. One of the things we had to learn is, in order for me to identify what I want, because Tiff always knew what she wanted out of her relationship. I can't always say that I actually had, these are my wants. What do I want? And if I did, why wasn't I articulating it? Right? Something was stopping me from articulating my wants, needs, and desires to my wife, right? So in this time frame, now that we've been doing it for the past like 4 or 5 months, I think, 3 or 4 months, something like that, is we're now starting to be able to have some of those tough conversations. The tough conversations that people have when you get to identify your wants with a new person, right? You have those tough conversations early, but that tough conversation is harder to have when you're realizing who you are as a new individual with the same person after 15 years. Meanwhile, you got a kid who moved to Florida, another kid who's moving to Philly. You're still, parenting from a distance. All of that is so much happening at the same time.
Let me ask you, what was stopping you from articulating that stuff?
To be completely honest, it's funny you asked that, because I had the realization, and I said it to Tiff probably in the late summer, that because I had been thinking about things all year, but what I realized is that I was unable, that is the easy way out.
There you go.
I was fearful. I was actually afraid that if I articulated all of my wants that I had just started to discover, that Tiff wouldn't actually be capable of fulfilling them. And then, if she wasn't, what do I do then?